My wife and I have been together for 20 years. We met in our freshman year of high school, and we have been together ever since. She and I both lost our virginity to one another. We went to prom together, and we even went to the same college after graduation. We got married right after we graduated from college, and we settled down to start our life together. Having a family was always something we were looking forward to, so once we had good jobs, we decided to start. Fast forward about 11 years, and we have 2 kids. We own our own home, and we are on a fast track to retiring early so we can travel and do all of the things we never had the chance to. I thought that we were living the dream life. All of that came crashing down when my sister-in-law was diagnosed with lung cancer. She was my wife's best friend, and she took it very hard. She was with her every step of the way while she was fighting as best as she could, but in the end, she passed away. It was a huge blow to the entire family, myself included. It's such a cliché, but she was just a beam of light in the world. My wife took it harder than anyone else. My sister-in-law was whom my wife would go to when she needed to talk about anything. They would go shopping together, and they knew everything about each other. I was there for my wife while she grieved the loss, and I helped her get over the worst time of her life. After about 6 months of mourning, my wife started to get back to herself. She had all of my sister-in-law's journals and her notebooks, and she read through all of them while she was grieving. I couldn't even begin to process the types of emotions she must have been feeling, so I just tried to be supportive and lend an ear when she needed it. One thing that got to my wife was feeling like she hadn't done anything with her life. Her sister was taken way too soon, and through the journal entries, my wife realized that her sister felt like she didn't get to do enough in her life. I guess when my wife read all of that, she thought that her sister would have wanted her to do the opposite. She told me that she had been inspired to start living. She wanted to travel, go skydiving, and just enjoy the life that she had while she had it. I wholeheartedly agreed with it. That's why I had been working 60 hours a week since I graduated college, so we could try to retire early. Over the next few weeks, she started doing more things. For example, she started taking pottery classes because she'd always been interested in it. She had been teaching herself how to rock climb because she wanted to free climb, and she even scheduled a bungee jumping excursion for her and our son. She seemed to be leaning into this new lifestyle. I didn't think anything of it. I was happy for her because she was recovering from the loss of her sister. One night, after she came home from the climbing gym, she was acting off. Before that, she had been very upbeat and excited about everything while she took on this new lease on life. After dinner, when the kids were in their rooms, she pulled me out to the patio where we shared a couple of glasses of wine and looked at the stars. Toward the end of our conversation, she brought up the possibility of both of us having a hall pass. For those of you that don't know, a hall pass in a committed monogamous relationship is a one-time opportunity for both of the partners to have sex with someone outside of the relationship. I was completely shocked by what she had suggested. It felt like it came out of nowhere, so I asked her about why she was bringing it up. She assured me that she loved me, but she felt like she might have been missing out on a part of her life because she had only ever been with me. She tried to say it in a way where I wouldn't be hurt, but it was impossible not to feel horrible when she said that. I told her that I wasn't supportive of the idea. She and I had been married for 20 years, and I didn't understand why it was a problem all of a sudden. I didn't want to sleep with anyone else, and I wasn't okay with her sleeping with anyone else. We were about to go back inside, but I stopped, and I asked her if there was someone she had been interested in sleeping with. She was hesitant to tell me the truth, but after a few moments, she told me that there was another person who went to the climbing gym that she was attracted to. She told me that he had always been flirty, and recently he asked her out for drinks. I was assured that she said no, and that she would tell him that she was married. But I still went to bed that night with a sour taste in my mouth. It took a few days for me to come to terms with what she had suggested. I was unbelievably hurt by it. But after some time, I forgave her, and we carried on as if the conversation never happened. After a week or so, she told me that the climbing gym offered a class to start working outdoors and that she wanted to sign up for it. One Saturday, she went out early in the morning with the class. At least, that's what I thought was happening. Our daughter had been entering those years where she started lying to us about where she was going so she could go to parties and hang out with friends we didn't approve of. So we told her to leave her location on Snapchat maps so we could verify she was where she said. That same afternoon, our daughter was supposedly going over to a friend's house, so I checked the maps to make sure she wasn't lying. Everything was good on our daughter's end, but I noticed that my wife's avatar was in the heart of the city. I was a little confused because I had been told that she was going to a park about 30 minutes outside of the city. I zoomed in on the location and saw that she was at a bar. I tried to rationalize it like she was just hanging out with some of the other people from the climbing gym after they got back from their climb, but I had a sinking feeling in my gut that I couldn't ignore. I remembered what she had said about the guy from her climbing gym asking her to go out for drinks. I didn't think it was that far of a stretch to wonder if she was there with him. I was home alone, and the bar that she was at only happened to be about a 15-minute walk from the house, so I grabbed the dog and we took a walk. I kept my eyes on the map every so often just to make sure she was still there and she wasn't leaving. When I got to the bar, I looked in through the windows and I saw my wife sitting at a table with a man. They were both leaning close together and smiling from ear to ear as they chatted. The man reached across the table and grabbed my wife's hand, and my wife let him. Of course, hand-holding isn't necessarily cheating, but it was an indication that maybe there was something more going on. I went home before my wife saw me there, and I waited for her to get back. The entire time I waited, I didn't know if I was going to confront her about it or try to dig around on my own. She came home, and before she even said anything to me, she went right to the shower. I tried to grab her to have a conversation, but she just told me that she was gross and sweaty from climbing. That solidified in my head that something happened while she was with that man. She had dropped her gym bag down near our bed, and I noticed that her phone was still inside. I pulled it out and looked through it to see if I could find any information about who that man was. I searched the name of the bar in her text messages, and I found a chat between her and an unsaved number. I scrolled back to the beginning of the conversation, which happened to be about a week before she asked me about the hall pass. I skimmed through the rest of the messages, looking for keywords that would indicate an affair. Eventually, I found a few exchanged pictures and some explicit messages. Then I saw the plans for them to get together at the bar. They even came up with a lie to tell me and his partner together. I had no idea who that guy was, but I was able to find out by looking through the climbing gym's social media. They had posted a few pictures with some of the clients, and he was clearly in one. He was tagged in it and everything. I did some digging and found out that he was married with a newborn baby. I was disgusted by what I saw. Hurt doesn't even begin to describe the pain that I felt. I had been with my wife for 20 years, and she was willing to throw all of that away because she wanted to sleep with another man. I was furious, and I was so disgusted by the foul actions both of them had done. At the end of their message chain, with no context, was the name of a restaurant with a date and time. A week had passed since I discovered my wife was cheating on me, and I had come up with a plan to catch her in the act. While I was thinking about it, I realized that the wife of her affair partner deserved to know as well. When the day of the meeting was supposed to take place, I sent his partner's wife a dozen roses with the information for the restaurant on the card. I hoped that it would be a way to trick her into thinking he had a surprise planned for her. I waited outside of the restaurant, and I saw her head toward it. I followed her inside, and we both noticed our partners holding hands at the same time. She rushed right over to him and started yelling at him in front of everyone. My wife was shocked to see me, but she jumped up and tried to tell me that it wasn't what it looked like. Then I asked her to explain the text messages, and she went silent. I told her that I would be ending everything between us, and that she could expect to see me in court. We spent the next 8 months in a divorce battle over what happened. The biggest issue that we had was custody. We both wanted primary custody of our children, but in the end, we were given joint custody. I was able to keep the house, and she was entitled to no spousal payment from me. Her affair partner was also divorced, and he was forced to pay child support and alimony to his ex. My ex and I only recently finished the divorce proceedings, and we're finally done with each other. I honestly don't know what to do from here. I had only been with one woman and she stabbed me in the back, and I'm not sure how to move forward. OP, I can't believe you went through something like that. Understandably, your wife was curious about experiencing new things after her sister's death. That's obviously where the idea came from. It seems like she was grieving in some way, but when you told her you weren't comfortable with the hall pass, she should have respected it. It's interesting to see how quickly she disregarded you saying you were uncomfortable with it. I think she must have been feeling guilty about even considering it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have offered you the opportunity to do the same thing she wanted. Not only did she cheat on you, but she cheated on you with someone who just had a baby, and that's truly horrendous. Not one, but two families were ruined because of the relationship they had. I hope you're able to move on past this. I know it's going to be difficult after dedicating so much of your life to someone else, but hopefully you'll find someone who will truly value you and your family. Now, let's move on to our next story. My girlfriend and I had been together for 3 years before my entire world fell apart around me. I thought that she was the one for me, and I even planned on marrying her. However, she cheated on me with my cousin. To begin with, she and I met at a nightclub 3 years ago. She was the hottest woman there, and I didn't think I stood a chance at getting far with her, but I had to try. Surprisingly, she was interested in me, and we went out the next day. We had been together ever since. She moved into my apartment a year and a half after we started dating. It seemed right, and I didn't question if it was too soon or not because I was head over heels in love with her. My cousin, who used to live down south, ended up accepting a job position in New York where we lived. I was able to talk to my building manager to get a decent apartment set up for him, since he couldn't come to the city to look for one himself. I was stoked for him to be close by. We had always been good friends when we were younger, and we often played games online together. I thought it was going to be nice having family close by. Once he was all settled, and we would hang out with each other quite often. He would come over to our apartment because I had a nice gaming setup, and we would play. He was never shy about letting me know he thought my girlfriend was insanely attractive. He was my cousin, so I never thought he would act on any of his feelings, so I would laugh it off and agree with him. I never noticed anything going on with them while I was around. She wouldn't sit next to him, they wouldn't really even talk much, and they seemed to respect each other's personal space. So a few months after he moved in, I was grabbing coffee with a friend. I thought it was just going to be me and one of my college buddies, but he actually showed up with his new girlfriend. I was a little shocked to see him there with her because she was actually my girlfriend's work friend. We had tried to set them up at a party, but we didn't think they were hitting it off very well. Apparently, they had been keeping things low profile because they didn't want to put any pressure on their relationship. I thought it was so funny that they were together, and I wanted to surprise my girlfriend with that news because I knew she'd love it. I texted her and told her that she should come to the cafe because there was a surprise I wanted her to see. I got a message back shortly after that she couldn't because she was hanging out with her friend. The friend she told me she was hanging out with was the one sitting right across from me at the cafe. Obviously, she was lying about what she was doing, but why she was lying was what I couldn't understand. I ended up lying to my friends and telling them that my girlfriend had a migraine and needed me to bring her some medication, so I left the cafe and went right home. When I got there, she was nowhere to be seen. However, I could see that she had makeup on the bed, and she had clearly tried on a couple of outfits. I was really nervous that something was going on that I didn't know about, and I needed to talk to someone about it. I walked down the hall to talk to my cousin. There was loud music playing in the background, but I knocked on the door for a minute until he heard me. I heard a lot of shuffling around, but he opened the door a moment later. He tried to laugh it off by telling me that he had company and that he would come over later. Again, I had no reason to think that my girlfriend was cheating on me with my cousin, so I didn't assume it was her in there. I didn't assume it was her until I saw a shirt that I bought her for her birthday on the arm of the couch behind my cousin. I played it cool and I nodded my head and went back to my apartment. As soon as I got there, I looked around for any other signs that she was cheating. I ended up going into her laptop and looking through her Facebook messages with my cousin. Doing that completely broke my heart. I saw that my cousin had reached out to her and asked what it was about me that she liked so much. She told him that she thought I was funny and had a good personality, but he replied saying that I didn't seem like her type. He told her that he was her type. My girlfriend didn't disagree. They were extremely flirty, and at one point she messaged him the classic "just got out of the shower" message. After that, they sent a couple of suggestive pictures, with some very sexual messages. Earlier that day, my cousin had messaged her that he couldn't stop thinking about her and that he needed to be with her. He told her to come up with some excuse to go to his apartment, and she did. I knew it was over between my girlfriend and I was going to be cutting my cousin off from my life entirely. But I was definitely going out their little tryst to everyone I knew. I took screenshots of everything that I saw, sending them to myself so I had it in case my girlfriend tried to lie. Luckily, my name was on the lease and hers wasn't because she moved into my apartment, so I would at least get to kick her out. She came home a few hours later, and right away I told her to get out. She was confused, but I told her that I found out about her and my cousin, and that I wanted her out of the apartment or I would file a legal complaint. I left for the night and told her that she had 48 hours to leave. While I was away, she and my cousin had both called me dozens of times, but I ignored every single one of them. While I was gone, I gathered all of my relatives into a group chat, and I told them everything about what happened. Everyone was so disappointed in my cousin for doing what he did. His parents were even in the chat. They all apologized profusely, even though they didn't do anything. Shortly after, I got a bunch of messages from my cousin where he was calling me a coward and telling me that he had members of the family messaging him and telling him that he was a scumbag. I didn't really care. He was a scumbag. My girlfriend and I had a lot of the same friends, so I put all of them in a group chat and told them about what happened as well. They were all completely shocked by what they heard, and they were on my side. While I was talking to them, a couple of the girls in the chat told me that my girlfriend was trying to call them to ask for a place to stay. They felt bad, but they said no because they didn't believe that what she did was right. I went back 2 days later, and my girlfriend was out of the apartment. I had no idea where she'd gone because all of our friends had decided to ghost her. I found out that she ended up staying with my cousin. However, their personalities clashed quite a bit, and he ended up kicking her out after a week. From that point, I have no clue where she went. I guess I learned that you really can't put your trust in just anyone, not even family. OP, it seems like your cousin was close to you, and I'm sorry you had to cut someone from your family off that you cared about. It's such a shame that he would value sleeping with a woman he didn't really even care about over his relationship with his family. Your girlfriend was clearly already interested in him if she was able to give in to what he was saying so easily. Karma got her in the end. I can't believe how coincidental it was that she lied about being with a friend that you were with. At least you know you have the support of your friends who all took your side when you told them what happened. It's good that they ghosted her because she didn't deserve any sympathy for her actions, and it seems like she might have been looking for it after. I hope that you can move past this and carry on with your life without worrying about the same thing happening again. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on what happened. If there is a story you would like to share with me about your own situation or someone else's, then please do not hesitate to contact me. Take care.